Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your December 29th, 2020 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you are interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be linked and listed in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Let's let the bulls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Aquarius. How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Let's see what your chakra energy will be for this time. Aquarius. How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. Fantastic. Okay, so we're starting here. Should we start here? We're starting here with nurturing. This is the Earth Star Chakra, located 6 inches below your feet. You're nurturing your inner self. You're nurturing what is astoundingly important to you, and you're also grounding yourself in it. It's like you're grounding yourself in the power of you, which is quite cool. Then we have forgiveness, which is a powerful one. This is the heart chakra coming through, the forgiveness of others, but also more powerfully, the forgiveness of ourselves. And then we have determination. This is the which chakra is this? This is the solar plexus. Thank you. This is the solar plexus chakra. And this is being utterly determined. It's like you feel at times like you don't know where you're headed. You don't know what's going on, but you know what your gut says. You know this gut feel. And it's like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is how I'm supposed to be moving forward. This is who I am. And emotions can come over, things can come over, and they can kind of knock you out of whack. But there's always that determination. There's always that power that you are embracing once again to really live in your truth, to live in the might that is you. Now, the left-hand side here is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. And we'll see how the chakra cards, and also how the moon equates to all of this. So we start here with the Queen of Waters, which is very, very powerful because the Queen of Waters is the Queen of Cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. The full moon is in Cancer. So here you're highly connected to this full moon. It brings about a tremendous change. You have the Wheel of Fortune here, a new season coming into your life. The Hierophant, which is Taurus energy, time frame April 20th to May 20th. There is a determination. There is that real nurturing, that real grounding of the self coming forward. And you have the Ace of Fire, the Ace of Wands, which is fire sign energy. It is your passion, it is your determination, it is the light that illuminates the darkness, but also that brings purpose to the soul. We then have the 10 of Wands, the 2 of Wands, the Knight of Earth, the Knight of Pentacles, right here, amplifying the Taurus energy that's forward, right? Earth sign energy, of course, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn again. And then you have the Page of Cups. So you're crowned here with being the ruler of your heart, and you're rooted here with being the student of your heart, within your heart itself, within your soul and yourself. You are the student of the way that you want to move forward, of what it is that you desire, the interconnectedness of what is going on around you. It brings you to the Emperor, powerful, strong Aries energy, right here, time frame March 21st to April 19th. Then you have the 10 of Cups, the Ace of Air, the Ace of Swords, and you have the 9 of Pentacles. So let's look at this chakra energy now. So we're starting off with nurturing. There is a huge sense of a new season coming. And this new season is asking you, like, who do you want to be? What is it that you desire? You have the repeat of the number 10 here in this kind of like arcing triangle. And you have that repeat 3 times, of course. And there is a sense here of divinity guiding you towards what you nurture, what you need, what you want within your life. And there's a sense of needing to nurture your soul and yourself, needing to nurture your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, instead of saying, well, this was silly and now it's time to move on. It's like, no, there was a purpose here. There was a point, and it might not be the point I thought it was, but there is a powerful coming together. It's almost a reckoning of what I desire and where I need to be and how I want to move forward. And you're nurturing that within you. You're nurturing those dreams as you would nurture a small child, as you would say to them, yes, of course you can, or, why don't we look at it this way, or, and asking those questions and developing, because there's forgiveness that's going on. And yes, forgiveness of others is important. That sense of, you don't get to ruin my life. You don't get to be that dark shadow that looms over me anymore. It's been too long. I've had enough of it. But it's also forgiving ourselves. It's forgiving ourselves for saying, wow, that person was such a boogeyman, a boogeyman in my life. That person was so overwhelming within my thoughts. That failure that happened years ago was still prevalent within my mind. And I forgive me. I forgive me because, hindsight is 20/20, and I forgive what cannot be changed. And I move forward in the truth and in the power of where I stand and who I am and what I desire for my life. And as you have that forgiveness coming forward, and forgiveness brings forward tears, forgiveness, true forgiveness of the self is freeing. It's sitting there and saying, well, why do I expect me to not make mistakes? If I would, sit there and nurture somebody as they were growing, as they were developing, as they were learning, why can't I nurture that within me? And that's the question that's being posed here, Aquarius, because you're very good at working with everybody else. But when it comes to the self, when it comes to your soul, when it comes to where it is that you want to be within your life, you're going to think, oh, well, I don't need to nurture that within me. It will either just happen or it won't, or, that was a silly dream anyway, and everybody has to grow up. And there's a sense here of why? Why do we have to give away that sacred part of ourselves, that dream that kept us going for so long? Because it's not happening in the time frame that we thought it would happen, because things are a little bit more challenging than we thought they would be. We move to determination. And it's that determination of spirit. And you feel at times, wow, I'm swimming upstream. I'm swimming up water, and I am determined, and I am strong, and I am, dedicated, and I am powerful. But also I doubt. I want to know, why is it so easy for everybody else, but for me it is a struggle? And here's the thing, it's not easy for everybody else. It's not. That's a mask that they wear. Everybody edits everything to make it seem like, oh, well, it all just fell into place. Or if they do share their hardships, their pains, their disappointments, it's not going to be in the moment because it's too raw. And you shouldn't share something when, it's just oozing from you, it's bleeding from you. But they're going to share it when you've learned the lessons from it, where you can look back and you can say, oh, wow, this is why that happened. And this was the hurt, the pain, the anger that I felt because of it. And that's what this moon is bringing us to. It's bringing us to a surrender more so than almost any other moon, because it's bringing us to a surrender of the heart and a passion of the soul. And so here, with this full moon in Cancer, it's ending 2020 in synchronicity. We began 2020 with the full moon in Cancer. We're ending 2020 with the full moon in Cancer. And this is a time where we can see our dreams kind of coming full circle. Not in the way that we expected. I mean, this has been one heck of a year, and, kind of like glad to see it go, right? But this is also a year where we can see those dreams that we had, those aspirations that we had at the beginning of the year, and we can kind of imply them to 2021. We could sit there and look at what it is that we want and where it is that we need to be, because there's power that comes forward, and we see a personal resolution, a personal issue reaching resolution, a personal resolution coming. And as we see this, it's like, oh, is that why? Is that why I had to walk through that darkness? Is that why I had to get so angry? Because we're seeing here the sacred feminine coming forward. We're seeing here a connection with all that heals, all that loves, all that cherishes, but all that is also ferocious and unstoppable, and you're not able to, exactly pinpoint why. So it's the sense of nature in and of itself. We think of being an earth mother as being somebody who's very caring, very healing, very connected. But a Mother Earth, in and of herself, she's fierce, she's powerful, she's tornadoes and hurricanes and blizzards and, typhoons and just all this extreme that we sit there and we're like, well, that's a bit much. But as we step into our own, and as we embrace the sacredness within us, that isn't, that I have a problem, I will fight, I will move forward, and it'll be solved kind of thing going on. And I know that's very, very much simplifying the sacred masculine, but it's that power to sit there and say, I see a problem, I'm working towards a solution. It might change here and there, but that's what I'm focusing on right now, and it will raise me to the top. The sacred feminine is going to be more of the emotional. It's going to be more of the communal. It is going to be more of a sense of seeking out peace instead of seeking out prestige. And so here, as this moon moves us forward, this moon is in her own sign. So Cancer is the sign of the moon. And it is saying here that we need to make time for ourselves. But we also are finding ourselves stepping into our own skins more so. It's kind of like we've come home. And so here, Aquarius, you feel as if I've come home. Just, it can be flashes of this, throughout the day, or, little flashes throughout this whole time period, where you can find moments where it's like, this is what I was made for. This is what I was born for. And you start to trust your instincts and your intuition more. And you start to absorb and acquire the information that you need to be able to move forward. And you become more introspective, but you also become more compassionate, more sympathetic, more understanding. It's going to be really easy, Aquarius, especially for you, who's such a giver to others. It's going to be really easy for you to become very involved with other people, very sympathetic, compassionate, understanding, kind, caring to everybody else, and to forget about yourself. Don't do that, because that would be too easy. And it would also be wrong, because you'll sit there and you'll miss the healing that's moving you forward. You'll miss the issue being resolved because you're going to be too caught up, and it'll be too easy to try and work on everybody else and then let the blessings for you slip away. And that's the last thing that you want. Now, emotions here are running high because this is a very sensitive moon. And what you need to be aware of is that you will have great feelings towards things, and things will burn bright, but then you'll also have those great feelings of, well, I can never do it, and I can never move forward that way, and oh, I'm just being so silly. So here, just be mindful of that and kind of nip that in the bud. Also be mindful of being nostalgic, being very nostalgic and sitting there and thinking, oh, it was better when, and it was easier when, and it can make you feel rather melancholy. So understand the nostalgia, understand the kind of, big emotions that come forward, because as you step into the time frame of the new moon, which is the 13th of January, you know a new start is coming. You've entered into this new year and you have these great plans for yourself. But it's also the new beginnings. It's the sense of, well, why not? Instead of why. And as you embrace this, you start to see your hard work paying off because you're not restricting yourself the same way that you once were, or the same way that you had felt you were restricted before. And so here, with the hard work paying off in the full moon, in the new moon of Capricorn, it's like this becomes the silence. This becomes the planning. This becomes the place where you see it and you contemplate and you gain that understanding and you embrace that heart and you see yourself saying, well, why not? Why not? If I can do this, why can't I try that? If I can move forward this way, why can't I try moving forward that way? And it's like, if not now, then when? If not me, then who? And those are going to be the questions that you ask yourself. It's like, well, why the heck not? Why not just try? And then you enter into the full moon in Leo on the 28th of January. And the full moon in Leo is this sense of don't let pride get in the way. Don't let ego get in the way of what you're doing. Don't sit there and say, well, I'll show you, or you know what? No, Spirit just said, well, that's not exactly right, because the I show you can be fueling you forward. It's like, well, I'll show you that I can be successful. I'll show you that I can, where you think that I can't. And so here with this Leo moon, it's like, it's looking at pride, but it's looking at the ego. It's looking at, well, it's doing things not for you, not because it's part of your calling on this earth. It's doing things to prove it to other people, to, sit there and silence that voice inside of your head and say, oh, yes, I can. And sometimes, that is needed to be done. But to do things out of ego, out of pride, out of, that kind of being at war with someone or something, especially the past, okay, that is going to be a very dangerous place to be because you can't change the past. It will always still be exactly the same. And you can change how it affects you in the present, but you can't rewrite it. And so here, not letting your pride get in the way, for you, Aquarius, it is being able to move forward with that strength of purpose, with that dedication of self, knowing the gifts have come, no matter what anybody else says, and no matter how anybody else thinks. Because your spirit animals for December, and I know we only have 3 days left in December, so you might sit there and say, well, what's the relevance of them? The relevance is profound because the owl spirit is the spirit animal for December and also for January. But we have here the horse spirit, and the horse spirit says, freedom is yours. So you're really going to see here, especially with the connection of heart that the full moon in Cancer brings, you're going to see here that you want this freedom. You want this force. You want this driving understanding of how you can be free within your world. It's not having things for free. It's not people giving you things. It's like, how can I be free within my existence, within my heart, within my soul, within myself to move me forward? And that's what you're thriving on during this time. That's going to be your gut reaction to things. That's going to be the balance that comes into your world. It's like, how do I move forward? And this is taking the wild side of you, and this is taking the tame side of you, and saying both have validity. The wild side is the shadowed self. Carl Jung would say it is the shadowed self. And the shadowed self is the part that we don't want the rest of the world to see. But it is astoundingly important. So the shadowed self is the fact that every human being, no matter how great you are, has a monster living within you. And there's a way a person's eyes change, a way a person's being change, when they say, I could be a monster. And you say it and you mean it. Not in this kind of flippant way, not in this, I'm going to be a monster type of way, because that's just wrong. But in a way that says, that path is open to everybody. It's not that I couldn't ever imagine doing something wrong. It's that I'm choosing not to. And as you embrace that aspect of yourself, you start to see this fierceness. You start to see this ferocious side of you that is needed. At times, you need to pull on that. You need to pull on this kind of primal strength that human beings have. And as you call on that, you also call on the tame side of you, the side of you that is civilized and honorable and kind and sweet, and, having those two parts of you come together. And it's not a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing. It is a sense of, I see the dual aspects within my psyche. I see the dual aspects within myself. And I rein them in, and I exert control. And that's going to be a huge part of your personality during this time, a huge part of your understanding the balance between the two of them. And it leads to strong emotions because you're really diving deeply into your psyche, into what you desire, into who it is that you are. And this also brings up strong sexual urges because it is that strong sexual connection with the sacred masculine, with the conqueror, with the emperor within that is moving you forward, with the sacred feminine energy of the owl spirit, of the full moon in Cancer coming forward and being just such a part of you. So you have that dichotomy of energies. You have that passion of spirit. And so when the owl spirit says, you see clearly now, it's like, yeah, you do, because you're seeing both sides of you. And you have a heightened sense of intuition. You see what others cannot because you're not naively moving forward. You're not sitting there and thinking, oh, well, this couldn't go wrong. And of course, people are going to uphold their word and everything like that. You're sitting there and you're like, okay, this could go pear-shaped. I might not know exactly how it will go pear-shaped, but I'm going to know that I am safe. You are bringing forward change, and you are announcing this change within your life because you are announcing the presence of your passion, your truth, your fire, your power, your fierceness to protect it. And you're seeing beyond the deceits and the masks that others wear, but you're also going to be seeing beyond the deceits and the masks that you yourself have worn. And this brings you to transformation. This brings you to a change in your reality. It also brings you to a time where you face the shadows within things. You see what has made you afraid once before. And as you face these shadows, you see that there's wisdom within the silence. And as you take the time out to connect, you take the time out to connect with your truth. And you're no longer dealing in lies and deceits and angers and upsets and, what other people don't understand. You are dealing in your reality, in your truth. And you're embracing your spiritual presence here in this world and your spiritual way of impacting this world. And it leads you in January to the brown bear spirit, which says, take time out. Now, the bear spirit is the spirit animal of January. And it says here, take time out to look at what you have planted within your heart, to look at what your soul truly desires. You're grounding yourself in strength. You're grounding yourself in confronting your confidence, your comfortableness, you're challenging things. You're sitting there and saying, well, why not? Why not kind of push myself out of my comfort zone? Why not, change things up? And this is a symbol of you healing. This is a symbol of you finding solutions within things. But you're also going to find a lot of solutions, a lot of healing, a lot of rest of soul through meditation, through solitude, through this sense of just kind of like communing with yourself. And it brings you to the Queen of Cups, because the Queen of Cups, very much like the King of Cups, knows that she only rules herself. And that's what this full moon in Cancer is really showing. You only rule yourself. And there's a power to that. There's a beauty to that. There's a understanding to that. I am only ruling me. And as I do so with strength and with beauty and with greater understanding and with a healing of my heart and an embracing of my soul. It's kind of like you're offering your cup up and you're saying, bless me, bless this water, bless the water that runs through my body. And let me see things more clearly, more groundedly, more succinctly within me. And you're embracing the energy of a queen. You very much know that you are the monarch of your existence. And it leads you with that simple act. And it can be, leaving a little bit of water outside to get charged by the moon, or a big thing of water outside. If it's cold where you are and it might freeze, you can bring the ice in, most definitely. So just be mindful of the container that you use. But there's a sense here of having this blessing move you forward, of having this sense of self guide you. And the Wheel of Fortune is saying everything changes. Everything changes. You're entering into a new season. And it might not always be the season that we want, because sometimes, like this year past, well, this year, which soon will be past, it wasn't the season that we wanted, but it was a season that had to be faced. And so here, as we embrace a change, as we embrace the way that we need to move forward, as we embrace our passions, our souls, ourselves, we look at things and we look at how we're transforming, and we can look at how painful that is for us. And we can also forgive ourselves for not getting there sooner, because that's going to be something that really ticks us off. It's like, well, I couldn't have this faith in myself before. I couldn't find this voice, this power before. And the answer is no, you couldn't. Because everything that you have gone through has gotten you to this point. Everything that you have lived through has given you this understanding. And so the Wheel of Fortune is saying, yes, during this time you will have fantastic highs. You will also have, intense lows. Not a lot of them. I don't want you to be scared. But it's like you have the highs, you have the lows, the lefts, the rights. Not everything moves smoothly. But it's as you step into that season, as you step into the change that is making itself well known around you, you step into a greater truth. You step into this greater power. And it leads you to being the ruler of yourself, of your universe, of what you desire and what you need, and the way that you move forward. The Hierophant is like, this is me. This is my truth. This is my passion. This is my power. This is me. Like it? Fantastic. Don't like it? Get out of my way. Because I rule my existence. The Hierophant in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, is depicted as the Pope. And the Pope is the ruler of monarchs, is the ruler of emperors. And so here, that is what, that is what you are seeing. You are ruling your destiny in a way that you hadn't anticipated. There's a strength to you and a power in your truth that you hadn't seen before. And it brings you to the Ace of Fire, the Ace of Wands. It brings you to passion and creation, and it's rooting you. So it's like this light that illuminates the darkness, that moves you forward, that guides your path, that brings you so much more. And this is what you greatly desire. That's like, this is what you want and what you need and what you've been hoping for. This sense of a fire, this sense of truth, this sense of, I see. And it doesn't come, I know we would all like it to come like a lightning bolt from the heavens, right? Just scorching the earth in front of us and revealing something magnificent. But it doesn't happen like that. This can be very subtle. This could be a light bulb. This could be, you see things differently. You're listening to something, or you're looking at something, and then all of a sudden, you're like, well, why can't I do this with it? Like, why can't I take this and kind of run with it and embrace it and create with it and gain a greater understanding? And that sense of why not is going to be really inspiring to you. Instead of trying to define why, it's like, well, why wouldn't I do this? Why couldn't I? If I'm not hurting anybody, if I'm coming from a place of love and compassion and understanding, why not? And it brings you to the 10 of Wands that crowns your heart. It's like you've been carrying too much. You've been overburdening yourself. And now's the time to kind of light it on fire and say, everybody has to carry their own burdens. Everybody has to live in their own truth. I am doing so. I am taking the weight that I'm carrying of my dreams and my passion and what I like and what I want. And I'm taking it off my shoulders. I'm taking it off of needing to be validated by anybody else. And I'm running with it. I'm also not going to be carrying everybody else. You need to find your path. You need to look at things. And it's not being cruel. It's not saying, it's not being cruel in any way, shape, or form. But it is saying, I'm not responsible for everybody else's happiness. And I cannot live your life lessons for you. We try, especially with people that we love. We try to sit there and say, oh, that's going to be a hard road. Maybe we should pick something different. Or, are you sure about this? Or, things like that. And they have to live it. It's part of their reason for being on this earth. And so we have to release. And as hard as it can be, it's that release and saying, this is your path. And I get it. I have my path, and I need to walk it in my truth and in my power. Because if you give up everything for everybody else, there does come a point in your life, in our lives, where we look at things and it's like, well, what the heck about me? Like, where do I stand in all of this? What about me? And then that can breed resentment, that can breed anger, and that's what divinity doesn't want you to have. It's like, no, don't sit there and get angry. Sit there and look at the brilliance that is you. Look at the power that is you. And take that passion that you've been carrying around with you and let it shine. Let it illuminate your way. Because the world then starts to open up to you. Now, with the world kind of closed as it is, you need to step back and might need to find different ways. But with the 2 of Wands, you see yourself moving forward. And all of a sudden, because in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, this is a person holding the world in his hands. And it's like, are my dreams bigger than the world? Like, can I move forward? Is it always going to be, are you going to be looking at it like, I hold the world in my hands and I can move forward and I can achieve in ways that I could hardly have imagined before? Or are you going to be looking at it as, this is a globe, you know, this is a map, and I'm still not sure how I can go about achieving and succeeding? There is an element of faith to the Two of Wands. There just is an element of walking through that doorway, of seeing that passion, of knowing who it is that you are. Maybe not fully, but you know who it is that you're not. And I always think that divinity lets knowing who you're not be much easier than knowing who it is that you are. And so we lose ourselves along the way. We might know exactly who it is that we are when we're really little, but then we go off to school, we meet people, we try to fit in, and then we can lose that. And so here with the Two of Wands, it's like stepping through that doorway to find yourself, but also to find that the world is not going to be as scary and as overwhelming as you had thought it would be. And so as you step into that truth, and it can be doing it little steps. It doesn't have to be like all of a sudden you move off to the big city and you try to make it and everything like that. It can be, just starting to visualize it within your mind, starting to see yourself stepping forward, starting to see yourself embracing your grace, because you become a defender of your prosperity. You become a defender of the seeds that you are planting, the garden that you have, the power that moves you to walk you into this new world, to bring you forward to this new place of being. And as you are this defender, you're also a defender of the truth that you are finding and where it is that you want to be within your life. And you're not comfortable with letting anybody else make those decisions. And it's not that you're not listening to people who truly love you and truly care for you, but you're also listening to you and saying, this is the path that I need to walk. And yes, people can see things that we cannot because they're outside of our bubbles. So listening is a good thing. Not sitting there and thinking, I just am going to do this, it's going to be great, and I know everything type of thing. But it's slowly building. It's carefully and mindfully being present within your existence and within yourself, slowly and steadily building a solid foundation that, is not, you're not building a house on sand. You're building a house on the solid foundation of your truth, of your power, and of the brilliance that is you. And it brings you to being a student of your heart and of your soul and of yourself and of what you love and of where you want to be, and looking at things differently, more openly, more honestly, but also more inquisitively. And it's like, ooh, maybe, and why not? And let me give this a try kind of thing. And as you take on this information and as you take on this power of self, you see your truth. You see where it is that you want to be. And you start saying, well, why can't I? Why not? And as you do so, in the public arena, you embrace the Emperor. You embrace ruling your existence, your life, and yourself. The Emperor is the person that says, all right, I might not be the best person to rule, okay? Because we look at ourselves, we know all our flaws, we know all our shortcomings. And isn't there the saying that if you believe that you can rule, you can't, and if you believe that you shouldn't rule, you probably should. So here, with this, there is that sense of seeing our flaws, seeing why we might make terrible emperors of our lives, but saying, nobody else gets to lead me. Nobody else gets to make my decisions for me. So I might not be the best choice, but I am my only choice. And I will work every single day to be the leader that I want to be within my life, to be the person that moves my world forward in a profound and brilliant way that is more than I expected. And that's what you're holding on to here, Aquarius. It's like, if not me, then who? And why them? Why them and not me? Why them and why their truth and not my truth? And it brings you to the 10 of Cups. It brings you to the sense of, and they all live happily ever after, because you take control. You take hold of your life and yourself, and it's not in somebody else's hands. It is your heart and your being, and you are seeing yourself moving forward in a way that is a blessing, in a way that is brilliance, in a way that, is your happiness. Everybody wants, and they all live happily ever after. And this isn't saying that you become Cinderella, because that doesn't always work, right? But it is saying that you get to have your piece of happiness. You get to have your bit of beauty. And it gets to be a part of you. It doesn't get to be a part of anybody else. And so we all sit there and say, oh, I want to be happy. But then your idea of happiness and my idea of happiness can be very, very different. I'm a very quiet, private person. And I know, like, one of my brothers is just very outgoing, loves to be in the middle of everything. And if I had to be him and if he had to be me, oh my goodness, that would not work. So it's finding the happiness for you, the way that you need it, the way that you want it, the way that you love it. And then it starts to open up doors. It starts to open up reality that is loving and beautiful and blessings full. And it brings you then to the Ace of Swords. It brings you to divinity handing you this gift of knowledge and of understanding and of passion and of reason. And, you cut through doubts and fears, and you know what it is that you want, and you know where it is that you stand within yourself. And you say, this is me. This is me. Because whenever you see the tarot, okay, the tarot has 4 elements. It has the 4 elements broken up into signs. Of course, water is cups, fire is wands, what is it? Pentacles is earth, and then air is swords. The only one of those that is a weapon, and just simply a weapon, is the swords, is the air, is the mind. And the swords, of course, represent the mind. So that's why they're usually the more challenging set. And some people really don't like the swords when they get into them. I find them beautiful. But the Ace of Swords is divinity handing you a gift of knowledge. It might not be the way everybody else sees it, but it is the way that you see it. It is the power that leads you forward. It is the passion that guides you. And so with the Ace of Swords, you cut through the doubts and the fears. You embrace a greater understanding. You see a more powerful truth. And you look at things and you're like, this is the reason why. This is my truth. This is my passion. This is my being. And I embrace that. Honestly and openly, brilliantly and beautifully. And it has you soaring to new heights. It has you becoming something more than what you had anticipated, what you had expected. And it becomes you. It becomes you. It becomes part of you. The mind is the weapon. And it is the thing with the sword. Only nobility held swords, and swords took training. People lived and they died, quite literally, by their swords. So here, it is what we live in, we die by, our wits, our ability to reason. We live for our mind, and our mind lives for us. And it's how we take in the world. It's how we understand things. And this is going to be a powerful truth for you, because you're getting this gift in the public arena as you're embracing your happiness, as you're embracing your mind, to say, this is how I move forward in the truth of me, as I cut through doubts and fears, as I see things openly and honestly. And it brings you to the 9 of Pentacles. It brings you to blessings. It brings you to prosperity. You do know that there's hard work ahead, and you're like, absolutely, I get it. But I get to revel in this beauty. I get to revel in this prosperity. I get to be a part of this bounty. And this bounty gets to be a part of me. And then I will have to bring in the harvest. Then I will have to do more work to keep myself moving forward. But I'm on the right path. And I'm moving forward in a way that is in harmony with my soul, with myself, and with the bounty that I was meant to live in, on this earth, and that I was meant to accumulate within this life. Let's see what your Luna message is. How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected? Sorry, guys, I really hurt my thumb. By the December 29th, 2020 full moon. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. And show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Okay. How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aquarius be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. So we have here resilience, peace, and self-love. Change. Work through fears. Conclusions are within reach. An end of a tough cycle approaches. Very highly affected. You are very profoundly affected by the full moon in Capricorn. And we can see that here also with the Knight, because it moves you forward in a way. It's like you're defending sphere. It's like you learn something, you move forward in a greater truth. It's like you have a purpose. There is something that comes up around the 13th of January where you start to see that purpose kind of honed a bit. Believe in the impossible. Show the world the real you. You have the full moon in Aquarius coming forward. You have yourself coming forward and saying, show the world the real you. So you have this grounding, this sense of resilience. And you carry the world tree. You carry your world tree on your back. And it's like, okay, this is heavy. This is more than I anticipated. But you move forward as a monarch. You move forward to a new season. And you're seeing that place where you want to put down your tree, where you want to plant your world, like how you want your world to be formed. And you can sit there, and some people find it when they are relatively young and they live in that truth. And others, we carry it with us, and it feels like an unbearable weight at times. But we plant it. I don't know if some people ever really find that final resting place for their tree until they find it for themselves. But there's a sense here of, especially if you wonder, especially if you're curious, especially if you love to dig deeper into things, it's just part of what you carry within this life. You carry your world tree, you carry your knowledge and your truth and your power, and it is a part of you, and it starts to change things, and you bring forward peace into your existence as you embrace your power. And you're going to think that seems rather incongruous to say that power brings peace, but it does. It brings a sense of security and a surety and a sense of purpose and reason. And it brings you then to this self-love as the flame burns brightly inside of you, as this gift becomes a part of you. And it changes things. It changes so much of what you have been carrying and so much of the way that you thought you would be moving forward, that this change, it's almost like you move the moon itself. It's like, oh wow, nothing will hold me back and nothing will stop me, and I will be and am so much more than anybody ever anticipated. And it brings you with the Knight of Pentacles. It brings you to the sense of your hard work pays off, and you work through the fear. You work through the fear of failure. You work through the doubts and the angers and the upsets and the upheavals, and you're like, this is me. This is where I stand. This is what I stand for. This is what I need within my life. This is who I am. And you work through the fear to, again, you have that high connection to the new moon in Capricorn to see your hard work pay off. And you know conclusions are within reach. You know that there is something that you are studying, something that you are absorbing into your being that is changing the outlook of what you want in life, changing the way that you see things, changing what it is that you desire, changing how it is that you move forward. And it brings you to the full moon in Capricorn. It says the end of a tough cycle approaches. It brings you to that sense of, this is the reason why. Like that tough cycle, that which has kept you from being the emperor of your life, that which has had you swallowing your words and thinking, oh, I can't stand where everybody else stands. It's like, no, that tough cycle starts to diminish. You start to see the reasons why you have been through it. You start to see what it has given you. It has given you more compassion, more understanding. It has also maybe even made you harder, which can be something that is difficult to come to terms with. But you're not that doe-eyed person who sits there and thinks, oh, everything's wonderful and I couldn't possibly imagine doing anything that wasn't just perfect all the time. It's like, no, you can. And that gives you a deeper depth of understanding of your psyche and understanding of yourself. So the end of the tough cycle approaches. It comes to you, and it brings with it the 10 of cups, the sense of love, the sense of brilliance, the sense of beauty and being. And it has here the importance of believing in the impossible, as you have this gift of knowledge, comprehension, power, and truth. You believe in the impossible. You believe in the impossible dream. You believe in the impossible self. You believe in what maybe you cannot see right away, but what is so beautifully and gracefully and gorgeously yours. And it moves you to your luminous being coming forward, to the full moon in Aquarius. And it says, show the world the real you. Don't hide it away. It's too beautiful to hide away. It brings with it blessings that, yes, bring about work. Because when we have blessings come forward, it's like when you have a harvest come in, you still have to take in that harvest. You still have to harvest that crop. So here, there is a sense of the blessings come. It's hard work to keep the blessings coming, to live in that grace. It is. It sounds silly to say, but it is true. And you move forward, showing the world the real you, showing this power, showing this brilliance. Your subconscious Luna message is release. You're releasing the negativity that has held you back. You're releasing the doubts, the fears, the anger that has kept you silent. And as you release, Luna says, the energy gains momentum. You gain momentum towards your truth, within your power, in your greater understanding. It brings you then to your chakra energy, your subconscious chakra message, which is inspiration, which is the sacral chakra. Now, the sacral chakra holds a lot of negativity from this life, from past lives. So here, as you move forward in its power, you move forward in its truth, you're also addressing a lot of the things that have held you back. Now, this is the generational curses that we are born into, that follow us, that were spoken over us when we were little. These are the hardships that come from our past lives. They can be past life curses. And curses is a big word. But it's kind of like when somebody says a curse word. Now, you do have those people who curse all the time, and, you just stop listening to them. But when you have somebody who doesn't, okay, and when they curse, it means something. And so when we look at the generational curses, and we look at the life purpose, the past life purpose, the past life curse, you start to see your purpose. You start to see the hurdles that you keep jumping over. That's your purpose. The purpose is not easy. And I think that's one of the things that gets so frustrating within this world. It's like the path that you are supposed to walk. It's like walking into the storm, walking into the harsh, bitter winds and saying, that's my path. That's my truth. That's the way that I'm going to move forward. And it inspires. It definitely does. But you have to be inspired to do it. You have to sit there and know that there's a reason why you are moving forward that way, why you are going after this. And so the sacral chakra is looking at the generational curse, looking at the hardship, the pain, the disappointment that your family line has been through, and saying, you know what, it stops here. It stops here. I change this. It's looking at the curses that were spoken over you by your parents, by, those people of authority, by people you really cared for. And you're like, no, that was your truth. It doesn't get to be mine. It was my truth for long enough. That's part of the forgiveness here, is that it was my truth long enough. It doesn't get to be my truth anymore. I am inspired. I am emboldened. I move forward. And it brings you to your subconscious tarot message, which is the world. The world opens to you in a way that you hadn't anticipated, in a way that you have greatly needed. It's like the world is not small anymore. It is, that's interesting. The world is not small anymore. So you would sit there and you would say, the world is small because, we are all interconnected and everything like that. But for you, it's not like this small little world. It's this vast, open world with endless possibilities. And that can be overwhelming. But it's also powerful and truthful. And you're opening the doors that you didn't even know were barred. You're opening up pathways forward that you didn't even know existed. You're like, wow, where did this come from? How Why didn't I never think of this before? How did I never see this talent that I have, this beauty that is inside of me? And you start to walk through, and you start to embrace the vastness of possibilities and the beauty of you. And that's extraordinary. Spirit is saying the world is your oyster. You start seeing that you are the key. That you are the key. You can unlock so much within your life, within your soul, within yourself, within this world. All right, Aquarius. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy. As you realize that you stand on the brink of greatness, as you see the world in a new way, through new eyes, with new light, with new understanding, and as you open your heart, your soul, and yourself to the impossible, to let the true you shine through in a way you always felt, too shy, too insecure to let it. Now it's your time. It is, Aquarius, and it's time to take it. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aquarius. And may you have a blessed moon.